Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to our respected lecturer, Dr. Zurina, and all of our fellow classmates. Okay, how are you guys doing right now? Good? Still good? No? Good? Okay, it's okay. Before we begin, let us introduce ourselves first. My name is Nurmaziatul Husna, Binti, my Suaid 081501.
And I am Nurul Izzatie, Binti Sukiman, metric number 082106.
We are from Group 6 and today we will be presenting our analysis titled Statistics, Public Speech and Parliament Debate. The sociolinguistic elements and concepts we have chosen are dialect, register, gender, and politeness. But before that, I want to ask the audience, have you guys ever heard of his name somewhere before? Yes. Of course, right? He's very, very famous. Izzatie is a prominent young politician known for active communication in parliamentary debates and social media. Therefore, our study examines how he adapts his language across two speech contexts, which are a YouTube motivational talk and a parliamentary debate shared on Instagram. Next, I'll pass the presentation to the next presenter, Izzatie, to explain the sociolinguistic concepts we have chosen.
Thank you, Nurmaziatul. Alright, if you take a look at the theoretical framework section of the poster, our analysis focuses on two sociolinguistic concepts and two sociolinguistic elements. But first, let us focus on the two concepts that we have chosen, which are dialect and register. Dialect refers to the way language varies among different social groups. In Malaysia, for example, Malay English code switching often occurs among youth. Meanwhile, register refers to how the language varies according to context, situation, and communication purpose. For example, a political figure like Sadiq himself often shift between formal and informal tones. I will now pass the mic to Nurmaziatul to further elaborate on these two concepts.
Thank you, Izzatie. In the YouTube speech, it targets young audience. So for example, he said in the speech, you must be confident, jangan takut untuk bercakap. This example shows us that he uses Malay English code switching during the speech. On the other hand, in the parliamentary speech, he said, kerajaan perlu memastikan pelaksanaan dasar yang berkesan. This means that he uses standard Malay and formal vocabulary during parliamentary speech. Next, for register, he uses personal storytelling with a motivational tone. For instance, I used to be nervous too when I first started debating. Meanwhile, in the parliamentary speech, he uses evidence-based and policy-focused tone. For instance, data menunjukkan bahawa langkah ini penting untuk masa depan negara. Therefore, this shows that politicians strategically adapt language to different kinds of audiences. Next, Izzatie will explain about the sociolinguistic elements.
Now, let's take a look at the elements that we have chosen, gender and politeness, to be analyzed in our case study. First, gender representation. Gender in sociolinguistics looks at how the language reflects and constructs between masculine and feminine communication styles in their respective social interaction. So it's less about biology and more about their socially constructed roles. For example, Sadiq presents himself as a supportive figure who uses a mentoring tone in his YouTube public speech. Meanwhile, in his parliamentary debate speech, he shows assertiveness and an authoritative stance as a policymaker. Next, politeness strategies. Politeness in sociolinguistics is all about framework. It's all about face work. Does anyone of you know what face work is? It is the act of managing your public self-image. So, whenever Sadiq presents himself or makes a statement, he often risks committing face-threatening act. To soften the blow, he uses multiple or different politeness strategies. For instance, he uses inclusive pronouns such as we, in his YouTube public speech to build solidarity with his audience. However, in his parliamentary debate speech, he uses respectful disagreement as a formal politeness. I will now pass the floor to Nurmaziatul to continue the presentation.
Thank you, Izzatie. Now, I will continue with the patterns, contrasts, and the thematic shifts in Said Sadiq's speech styles. Firstly, for pattern, Sadiq uses polite and inclusive language consistently. Next, for contrast, he uses informal register and motivational tone in his YouTube speech. Meanwhile, in the parliamentary speech, he uses formal and policy-oriented. Lastly, for the thematic shift, his role changes from a mentor and motivator to a leader and policymaker. After this, Izzatie will explain about the impact of ESG.
Okay, let's move on to the ESG impact. Through all of these concepts and elements that we have gone through, Said Sadiq's speeches heavily relate to the social pillar of ESG. Through Said Sadiq's speeches, it allows us to communicate effectively with different social groups, encourages more diverse leadership representation, promote respectful and constructive dialogue, and contributes to greater inclusion and trust in governance. Thus, this shows how language can contribute to social sustainability.
Now that we have understood the sociolinguistic concepts, elements, the comparison, and the impact of ESG, I will now conclude our presentation. In conclusion, our study shows that language plays an important role in political communication. We can now see how Said Sadiq strategically shifts his language across different contexts. Besides that, AI tools such as ChatGPT, Gemini, and Copilot were used only for layout and visual suggestions. We also use Canva to create and design this beautiful poster. In addition, all analysis and content were reviewed and analyzed by us. That is all from us. Thank you.